This is Francisco Dihasu y de Javier, who is commonly known today as Saint Francis Xavier. He was born on April 7, 1506 at the northern sector of Navarre in northern Spain. Saint Francis Xavier is one of the greatest missionaries in the Christian world.
On October 1542 to September 1543, Xavier sailed to Cochin, near the southwestern tip of India, where he then proceeded to a southeastern fishery coast opposite of Ceylon.
Before Xavier arrived, this place had been oppressed by Muslim invaders, and the Portuguese missionaries helped liberate them, so the Paravas accepted baptism even if neither the Portuguese nor the Paravas understood each other.
However, Xavier did not know Tamil, the language of the Paravas, so he came with two interpreters. The people knew nothing of Christianity else from being baptized. Thus, the first task was to instruct the people the essentials of Christian doctrine in their native tongue.
Xavier learned and composed the rudimentary catechism in Tamil, which includes the Apostles' Creed, the Our Father, the Hail Mary, the Salve Regina, the Confiteor, and the Ten Commandments.
Xavier's arm grew tired due to the large number of people being baptized. A spectacular case of a supposed miracle was that of a boy who fell into the well and apparently drowned. Xavier prayed over him, read a passage from the Gospel, told him to get up, and the boy got up. When asked if it was true that he raised a dead person to life, Xavier smiled and said, No, I merely prayed over him and he got up. He must have been alive all the time."
After a year on the fishery coast, Xavier returned to Goa, where he learned that the Pope had approved the Society of Jesus as a religious order, composed of the 10 Parisian masters through the letters from Rome. So in December 1543 in Goa, Francis Xavier made a solemn profession which consists of the 3 vows of poverty, chastity, obedience, and the 4th vow of special obedience to the Pope with regard to papal missions or assignments.
His second missionary journey happened on February 1544. He divided his 4 companions, composed of a priest and others studying for priesthood, into 2 groups, each assigned to a territory while he visited all villages. This way, they were able to cover a much wider territory in the southeastern coast of India. Remember the fishery coast? And on the southwest, the villages of the Travancore region.
After southern India, Xavier spent 4 months in an old Christian community of eastern India at Santhome, where the apostle Saint Thomas was believed to be buried. There, he heard that new Christian converts in the Moluccas, now Indonesia, and specifically that there were no priests at Makassar.
He found a ship that took him to Malacca, where he did what he'd done in Goa, heard confessions, instructed children and adults, but his main purpose was to learn the Malay language to prepare a brief elementary catechism in preparation for the voyage to Moluccas.
Upon hearing that there were already priests in Makassar, he decided to board for Amboina, Ternate, and the Isles of Moro or Morotai. On January 1546, armed with his little catechism and his missionary crucifix, he sailed for a month and a half to Amboina, visiting villages like he did in the fishery coast.
Then he sailed and stayed for 3 months in Ternate, then to Morotai Islands, where he remained for 5 months, then back again to Ternate for another 4 months. He returned to Malacca, where he remained for another 5 months, and by January 1548, he's back in southern India, and in March, back in Goa.
Wherever he went, his routine of teaching catechism by making the children, then the adults, repeat the creed and the prayers until they had learned them by heart was the same, except that in the islands, his work was among the natives. But in Malacca, his special care was for the Portuguese because they didn't always lead good Christian lives.
He returned to Goa again and tasked a mission team for Amboina, Ternate, and Morotai to continue his work. And one famous incident happened. While Xavier was with others in a small boat, a storm broke, so he took the crucifix he wore and dipped it into the sea. But the violent waves and wind caused it to slip and sank to the bottom. But when they landed along the shore, a crab crawled out of the water and returned the crucifix.
During Xavier's stopover in the Indonesian islands, he met the survivors of the Villalobos expedition who were sent to colonize the western islands of San Lazaro, which Magellan had discovered 2 decades earlier. It was the Villalobos who gave to the islands the name Philippines in honor of Prince Philip. The Villalobos expedition eventually wandered into the Moluccas and had to surrender to the Portuguese. One member of that expedition was a secular priest from Valencia, Spain, named Cosme de Torres. His meeting with Francis Xavier in the Moluccas so impressed with him that when he got to go, he asked to be admitted to the Society of Jesus. Xavier later brought him as his companion on the mission to Japan and left him in charge of the mission after Xavier's departure.